Do you want more versatility on your dynamics on the drum set? I'm going to show you how. It all starts with your grip. And the internet has all this information about how to hold drumsticks. It goes into way too much detail about things that don't matter and no details about the things that do. So I'm going to show you what's going on. So if you don't know how to hold a drumstick, it's not that complicated. You act like you got a remote control. You put the drumstick in your hand, boom, you turn your wrist 90 degrees, now you're holding a drumstick. Took that long. The things that they don't get into is at what point of the drumstick do you hold? Well, there's a balancing point. The default position is where your thumb and index finger will be about 1/3 up the drumstick. You should have a little bit of space at the bottom. But that is a point that gives you the most balance between downstroke and upstroke. It's the optimal point. It gives you good rebound. You have good power. That's your default position. Let's say you wanted to play lower down on the stick, all the way to the butt. Well, you're not balanced anymore, but the front of the stick is heavier. Now you can play harder. The sacrifice is, though, that it's heavier on the front of the stick, so it's harder to lift the stick up. You might not be able to go as fast, but by God, you'll be louder. Same way going down the stick, you can choke up on the stick further than the 1/3 point. You can play a lot faster, and it'll be a lot quieter. The internet spends a whole lot of time talking about German grip, American grip, how tight your sister's grip is, all this stuff that it's the same thing. You just turn your wrist a little more, and now it's a different grip. It's all match grip. If your palms are down, you're going to have the most power because you're using your wrist and your fingers. You have all the leverage. The more you turn your wrist, you're going to have less power. You don't have the same amount of wrist motion. You can do this a lot easier than you can do this. But you lose power, but it kind of makes the stick bouncier. So I like to turn my wrist 90 degrees. They call it French grip. I like to do that for the ride cymbal, right? It's further away. You get a few extra inches turning your wrist. And it has a good ping to it. You can do the same thing on your floor tom. You might want to do that with your hi-hat. So last tip, normally you'll pinch the drumstick with the index finger and thumb. And these fingers are your control fingers. But you can also pinch the stick with your middle finger and thumb. And that gives you a more slappy, thuddier strike. That works really well for doing rim shots on your snare drum.